All right, hello everybody. Thanks for joining. My name is Iman Maghroori. I'm a master solution engineer here at Salesforce, and today I've got a fun one for you. Today we're going to go over easy customizations that you can all do today. You don't need help necessarily. You don't need a partner. You don't need a background in computer science. These are things that you can do pretty much right now that'll make your Salesforce work better, work smoother, and generally be more fun for everybody. But first and foremost, let me just say thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being customers. Thanks for taking time out of your day to learn a little bit more about Salesforce. I appreciate your time. I respect your time. And I really want this to be a good use of your time. So speaking of our time together, what's it going to look like? I am going to sprint very, very fast through these things that I'm going to show you. And then I'm going to give you a chance to log into a demo environment where I've pretty much set up all these things to already work so you can play with them. And then last but not least, at the bottom of the hour, we'll open it up to questions. Look, if you've never joined me before, do not click along with me. This is not an Iman click along. I'm going to go way too fast. If anything, sit back and prepare to drink from the fire hose, but do not even attempt to do what I'm doing as I'm doing it. I'm going to go very fast, and I'm just trying to be very clear about it. I've got a lot of great content and not that many minutes to show it to you in. Anytime you got questions though, open up the GoToWebinar sidebar. There's a question section in there. Open that up and then put your question in there and send it over. Crystal is on the keyboards today. She's going to be fielding your questions and shooting them at me at the bottom of the hour. This whole thing is being recorded. This presentation is available for download right now from the GoToWebinar sidebar. There's a handout section. Go there and download it, or do nothing. And tomorrow morning you'll wake up with an email in your inbox with a link to this recording and the handout. All I ask though is just please fill out a survey. Let me know if this was a good use of your time. Let me know if you found these tips and tricks helpful. I make this content for you, and I want to hear from you to let me know if I hit the mark or not. And last but definitely not least, I got to sit through this webinar. I might as well enjoy it. So can we have a good time? All right. So what's on the list? Look, you came for 7. I added 10. There are 10. So even if you don't like 3 of them, you're still getting 100% of what you signed up for. If anything, some of you are going to walk away with more than 7 things. So here's the list. I'm not going to read it to you. We're just going to go right into it. First and foremost, let's do this. So visual indicators. This is the #1 thing. Look, if you have to leave the webinar after this one, that's fine. This is the most important thing in my opinion. Look at this wall of text. This is not great. I don't appreciate this. I don't like looking at it. It doesn't really tell me anything. I want indicators almost everywhere. I want 5 stars, 4 stars, red flags, green flags, progress bars, you name it, okay? I have seen a lot of customers who take a ton of fields and just show them to their reps and go, look at this record and tell me if it's a healthy record or not. Why are you making me look at 55 fields to figure that out? How about you create a visual indicator that looks at those 55 fields and gives me a green, yellow, red? The nice thing about indicators is they look good, they reduce complexity, they update in real time. You can literally add them, change them whenever you want. You can make them brandable, right? You can put whatever picture you want in there. So if you sell tractors, put a tractor in there or whatever. And you can make them clickable. You can even make them links that take you somewhere. And they really work everywhere. So when I say everywhere, you can put them in the highlight panel. You can put it right on the record page itself. You can put it in mobile. You can put it on a list view. They even work in reports. They're basically just fields that show up anywhere you can see fields. Great, I'm in. But the how do I do it, right? All right, so pick an object, okay? You pick your leads, opportunities, I don't care, pick your object. And you go to edit the object. And when you edit the object, you're going to add a field to that object. So if you want a visual indicator on leads, go to your lead object and add a field. And you're going to add a formula field. That's how we do this. And I know it's weird, but you're going to create a text formula. You're not doing a number. You're not doing a date. You're not doing a currency. It's text. Even though it's an image, pick text. And then this is where the magic happens. The formula you put in here is what makes the image show up. There's actually a function called image. And it's actually pretty easy. You put image, and then you put in quotes the link to the image, like where is the URL of the image, and then a comma, and then the name of the image in case someone is using one of those tools where they can't see the screen and they need stuff read out to them. So in my case, image green, and I've got the link to the green thing. You can also even specify the exact size. So if you've got a big image and you want to make it smaller, you can specify the size if you want or not. But if you just put in a single image in the formula, the green image, it's always green because the formula is always green. So instead, think about putting in some logic here, like if the dollar amount is less than 50, show the red image. If it's greater than 50, show the gray image. But really, it's just the logic of your formula. If it's this industry, this state, that state, whatever, you write some ifs, and this is how you make it change color. Now, when you actually add your URL in here for the image, the thing's going to look much longer, and so it's going to be a little bit harder to read, but it's still the same simple formula. It's just still, if they have more than 500 employees, show the green circle. If they don't, show the yellow circle. It looks more complicated because my URL is more complicated, but that's it. Now, if you don't have images, okay, you can install something called the graphics pack off the App Exchange. I forget how many, but it installs tons of little icons for you. You can just feel free to use those. But if you do have images, you can just upload your own. There's a thing called static resources. You essentially create a new static resource, give it a name, upload your file, and when you click that view file link, that's the link you want to use in your image function. So let me just show you this real quick. All right, so in setup, I've got a static resource for a green image. I've got another one I already put in here for a red image, but if you were new, you'd come in here, you'd pick new image, you'd give it a name, doing it live. And then you pick a file, like my yellow one, and you hit save. Oh, no spaces, doing it live, and hit save. So this is how you would add your yellow image. And if you click view file, there is the link right there to your yellow image. So in my case, let me go to the green one I have. So there's my green one. I'm gonna go to the red one I have and open that up. There's my red one. So let's say I wanna add a visual indicator to my lead record. Gonna go to leads, gonna edit my object. And again, I'm doing this fast, but you should get the idea. Go into fields, creating a new field, creating a formula field, and in my fashion, doing it live. It's a text field, and I could just do a very simple image and then pick, let's say, the green one. Just grab that URL, paste it in here, and then just say green. And this will only ever be a green image, okay? Or I can do something like if, and then add some fields in here. So I can even add some logic. So I can say something like if the lead, I got a field in here called total score. Let's see, total score. If the lead score is less than 10, show one image. If it's greater than 10, show the other image. So I'm going to do another one right here, image, red. There we go. And I'm going to grab the red icon, put it in there, and that's it. And I'm pretty sure I did it right, but check your syntax. It can't hurt. It's all about good syntax. And then who can see the field? It's just a normal field now. So field level security kicks in. So who can see the field? Which page layouts do you put the field on? Where do you put the field? It's just a field at this point. It's just like putting in phone number, email address. There we go. So when I go to Charlie's record and I refresh my page, here is my doing it live field. And it's green because Charlie scored more than 10. But if he does not have a project defined and he's not the decision maker and they're really not thinking anytime soon, well, that score is going to go way down and that indicator changes. Do this everywhere on everything. It's awesome. All right, next, customizing your Navbar. Look, you as an admin can create whatever tabs you want, but this lets users create their own tabs, reorder the tabs. They can make any record into a tab, any report, any dashboard, any list view into its own tab, and whatever tab they move all the way to the left, their leftmost tab becomes their home page when they log in. So if there's a list they like, a dashboard they like, an account they always go to, I don't care. You shouldn't care. They can put it all the way to the left, and when they log in, that's what they're going to see. So this is just a really, really nice feature. Look, you as the admin, you specify the minimum tabs they're going to get. So they can't remove tabs. These tabs will always be there. But then they can go in and let's say add a dashboard, or notice my Acme account, okay? So, or my list view for hot leads. Those are all tabs that I have customized. They can do it in a couple of ways. Any user can go to this little pencil on the right and hit add more items and literally search for items and add them that way, but no one really does that. Instead, when you're looking at a record, like I'm on the account page right now, you click the little arrow on the account tab, and there's a little item there for open this up in a new tab. Do that, and it opens up in a tab. Now that tab won't stay there forever unless you click it again and you add it to the navbar. That's like making it permanent, not permanent, but not making it temporary. Okay, it's a step above temporary. And a lot of times people do this just because they want to get a list view they like. They don't want to go to the leads tab and then change the list view all the time. This should have been its own customization on its own. It's pretty simple, but there's a new feature where you can just pin list view. So if all you're trying to do is always get to your hot leads or my deals, you don't need to do the tabs for that. You can just pin whatever list view you want, and that's the one you'll see when you go to that tab. But let me show you how it works. So maybe Charlie Fong is my go-to lead. I can click this little arrow, open up Charlie. There's Charlie. I can move Charlie around, and I can add it to the navbar permanently, and there you go. I can do the same thing with list views. I can take my list view and add it here to the navbar, and there's my hot leads list view, and I can pin it, and I can move that around. So I can essentially create list views, dashboards, reports, and now I can go to my lead tab. I can quickly get to the Charlie record, or I can quickly get to my hot leads. Okay, really nice, really easy. It's not hard. All right, dynamic components. How are we doing? All right, dynamic components. So maybe there's a bunch of stuff that you should put on the page. They don't, belong there all the time, but you don't want them there none of the time. You want stuff to show up when it makes sense. So there's a really easy way to do this, and it's called component visibility. So you can put anything you want on the page, and then you can decide when it shows up. Okay, you can put a little criteria in place for, is this lead a hot lead? Then show the thing. Is this lead in California? Then show the thing. But it's not just based on the record you're looking at. You can do it based on the person looking at it. So for example, are you a sales rep who's been at the company less than 90 days? Maybe I add a text box or a guide or a video or something on the page for you. But the person who's been here for a year and a half, they don't need to see that. So I'm going to declutter the page for them, and I'm going to clutter the page for you, but it's for your own good, right? So this is something that's just super easy. You drag and drop a component on, you pick the field, you pick, whether it's greater than, whatever you want, whatever logic you like, and that's it. So think about having different items show up based on their status or city or what stage in the sales cycle you're in, or if you're ahead or behind the competition. On your opportunity page, you could say something like, did they pick Acme as the competitor? If they did, I'm going to put this thing on the page that says, here's a link to how we beat that competitor. Here's some things you should know about the competitor. Ask Iman, he's an expert in the competitor. But there's lots of little things like that you can do really anywhere. And on the home page, this is a great thing because you can add spiffs, training resources, announcements, and you can customize. You don't have to build a whole new page for that one message. You can just put some component visibility in there that goes, if their title is sales rep, tell them about the spiff. And that's it. So let me show you how this works. So let's go to my page, like the lead page, and I'm going to edit the page. And it doesn't matter what component you want to toggle. You can toggle entire sets of tabs, entire lists. You can have reports or charts show up on here or not. But I'm going to drag and drop a little indicator in here, a rich text component. Why not? Simple. And it can be text, okay? You can even put images in here. So I'm just going to take a screenshot just so you can see. You can even just paste images in here, which is pretty cool. So that's another way to put visual indicators on a page. You can put links in here. So links. Okay, the best link, all right? And there you go. Now that's there all the time, unless I add a component, a filter, a component visibility. So do you want to do it off of a regular record or something else? So, you could just pick fields off the record, or you can go to the advanced section, and this will let you do stuff based off the record, based off the user, or based off permissions assigned to the user. So do you have this permission? If you do, you see it. If you don't have the permission, you don't see it. In this case, I'll do the record, and I'll do score, lead score, okay? And again, I can say if the lead score is wrong one, total score. Total. If the total score is greater than 10. So if it's greater than 10, show this. If it's not, don't show this, much like that little green indicator we had before, right? So it's a red indicator. Oh, there we go. So I'd pick a different lead. So let's take it off now. Here we go. Take it off. This score is really low, so it's going to go from 20. So it's going to go from green and this thing showing up to red and that thing not showing up. Really easy. You can do that on any element. Add, remove tabs, add, remove components, add this header, don't have the header. Anything on the page, you can do that with. Very easy. Themes. Look, Salesforce gives you the blue. And I like the blue, but I work here. You have your own branding, probably. I don't know what your colors are for your company, but you've got them. And so the theme just kind of takes effect everywhere. Notice it changes the links on the page, the button colors change, the backgrounds change, everywhere that there are little highlights, we just use your branding. So in Salesforce, there's a theming and branding section in setup. Literally just add little icons, pick your brand colors, and that's it. Once you do that, it goes live. Also, you can theme your dashboards. We don't call them themes though, we call them palettes. So each dashboard can have its own palette, and that has nothing to do with your theme. So I can take my dashboard and make it purple, and you can make the theme blue, and they're completely independent. The theme is the same for pretty much everybody. The dashboards are different by dashboard, okay? So also you should just know there's mobile branding as well. So if you use Salesforce Mobile, you pick a color, you pick another color and a logo, and the whole mobile app gets branded to match your company branding. This is just too easy not to do. 5 years ago, before this existed, customers would spend a lot of money to customize this into Salesforce. You don't have to do that anymore. Point and click, 5 minutes, you're done. So let me show it to you. Go into setup. I've got blue right now. I'm going to go into setup, and I'm just going to search for theme. And there it is. And it comes with some of its own themes. We give you some standard themes. You're welcome to create a new one, pick your own colors, upload your own background images that'll load behind records, change what groups, the default icon shows up for a group or a user when they join your company before they add their own profile pic. So you can do that, or you can say, you know what, I'm gonna go with this seasonal flare theme, and you can just preview it. You can just see what it looks like before you turn it on. And if I were to do that and just go to my sales app, notice now, slightly different color, right? I probably should have picked one a little bit more aggressive. Here, I'll pick a more aggressive one. Probably pick the red one here. Well, you get the idea. So you just pick the theme, the background colors change, the links change, too easy not to do. All right, this one, you gotta hang with me for a second because it might not make sense, but it's very, very convenient. So think about your account record. Your account has a bunch of related stuff. It's got related lists, all the contacts related to the account, all the opportunities related to the account, all the cases, all whatever. Well, what if you're on an opportunity and you want to see all the products on the account, or all the contacts on the account, or all the cases on the account? Traditionally, you got to go from the opportunity, click to the account, find the list, and then look at it. What if you could just, while you're on the opportunity page, have Salesforce go up to the account, find the list you want, just put that list right on the page for you? So that's what you can do. So if you go to your opportunity page or contact page or whatever, there's a component called the related list single. And when you drag that on the page, it goes, look, I'm on a contact record. Do you want the list from this contact record? And you could just use one of the related lists from the contact record. Or you could say, no. I want you to use the relationship, the account relationship. So I'm going to use the account name. So go up to the account. And then here are all the lists from the account. Pick the list you want from the account and then put that on the page. So I'm on a contact record. I'm looking at the contact, but I can see every other contact on the account. There are just so many use cases for this. Show me all the deals, the projects, the invoices, the support issues without having to navigate up and then back down. So if you have to go up and then back down a lot, this is going to save you a ton of clicks, give you more context in one place. Again, it's just too good not to do. So I'm going to show you this one real quickly. So let's say I go to a contact record. I'm looking at Lisa Jones. Okay, here's Lisa Jones. Now I'm going to edit this page, and I'm going to add a related list single. You got to pick the single one, and I'm going to drag and drop it. And let's just say put it up here. All right. So now it's saying, what list do you want to show? I could just show the list of cases for Lisa. This is Lisa's cases. I could just do that. Or I could say, you know, go up to the account that Lisa reports to and get me the list of cases from there. Get me the list of products they've purchased. Get me the list of contacts, shopping carts, whatever. In this case, I'll say support cases. Hit save. So now, and I could have put this list anywhere. I could have put this list, let's say, in the service tab for Lisa. So now when I look at Lisa's record, I can see Lisa's info. I can see Lisa's support tickets and everyone else's support tickets at her company. And you can even customize this list view so that you get a basic list, an enhanced list, a tile view. So you can even change the way it looks. All right, there you go. Hit save, and I'll move this out here just to make it more visible. There you go. Hit save, and that's it. I've now on a contact record. I can see all of Lisa's cases, and I can see everyone else's cases right there as well. Okay, so all the cases for the account and all of her cases, and in this case, they're the same, but you get the idea. You could do this for any other, show me all the projects, show me the invoices, show me the orders, anything. I could keep rattling off stuff, but that's the idea. This is a game changer. So I think people put too much onus on the end users to update records, and they make it hard. So data entry is not easy. No one likes to do it, and we're not prone to doing it correctly. We miss records, we forget records, and if you make it hard to do, it's not like they're just going to do it later. They just won't do it. So it's all about making it easy and getting consistency with your data quality. So if I told you right now, here's an opportunity, update your next steps. Go ahead, I'll wait. Update your next steps. Which fields do you update? What does that even mean to update my next steps? Or you could have an action called update next steps. And then when you click it, only the fields you care about show up. Okay, so you can create actions, and you can even default the values for those actions. So for example, you go to an opportunity, you go to the actions section, you can create a new one. And let's say in this case, I'm going to create an update action. It's going to update the opportunity. And you can put the fields you care about exactly on there. So when I say update next steps, you're going to see the close date, the sales stage, the dollar amount, and the next step field. That's what I mean when you should do it. And then you put that on the page, and that's it. They work on mobile, it saves people time, you get better data quality, and these actions can be used with macros, so you can team them together and create powerful automations. Or I can go to a list view and perform an action on all of these things at once. I'll show you an example. So I can go to a list of leads and let's say put them all into a campaign or change the status of all of them because I have an action to do that. And this gets really powerful when you power it, when you team it up with automation rules. So here I've got an action that logs a voicemail. You just click the VM action and it knows it was today. It knows who it's on. It knows that the task is completed and it knows that it's a voicemail. So all those fields are defaulted for your reps. They don't have to type anything in. They just hit save and then an automation rule fires and creates a follow-up task for them. Why are you making someone log it, type in everything, pick everything, and then create the manual follow-up? Just do this. You do it once and everyone benefits. They'll go to the left of voicemail action, they click save, and that action's logged and a follow-up task has taken effect. So I'll show you real quickly. If I go to a lead record, here's my lead, and there's my text from before. Now notice I can just say left a voicemail and I click save. That's it. It knows that I left a voicemail today. It knows, there it is, I left a voicemail today. It knows that it's completed. It knows that I did it, and it scheduled the voicemail follow-up automatically for 2 days out from today. And I can go to a list view, for example, of all my leads, and I can say, you know, I called all these people, and I left them a voicemail too. And now I've left 8 voicemail records and get 8 follow-up task records, and I didn't have to click into all these, and there's Tyler with today's voicemail and the follow-up. This just applies Just so many use cases. You need to feel more comfortable with actions and automation rules, but this is something that is point and click and incredibly time saving for your reps. Calendars. So chances are you've got records in Salesforce, and those records have dates. You can put any object you want on a calendar if you're an enterprise edition or above. This is the one that's like edition specific. But you can put opportunities, cases, orders, invoices on a calendar. So you go to your calendar object, you create a new calendar, you pick your object, pick the date field you want to use, and you've got a calendar. Let me just show you really quickly. If I go to my home page and I go to my calendar, here's my calendar. I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to create a calendar on opportunities. So I want to include opportunities, so deals. I'm going to have a deal calendar, and I'm going to use the close date. Now maybe you have a start time and an end time, but if it's just a date, just pick the start time. Well, which opportunities? All your opportunities or some opportunities? So this just uses your list views, various list views to filter down which opportunities. All right, well, what field do you want to see on the calendar? I want to see the name. There you go. And now I have a calendar with all of my deals and when they're closing right there. So I can see when deals are coming up, when orders, invoices, projects, classes, you name it, real easy. All right, so this is a path. You can drag and drop, put a path on pretty much any object, and it helps your people follow a process. You go into setup, you create a new path, you pick your object, and you pick the pick list field you want to use for each of these stages. So that's really all it does, is you pick an object and you pick your pick list field, and it turns that pick list field into stages in your path. And for each of the stages in your path, you can say which fields you want your people to update, and you can put text, images, links for some guidance for what they should be doing in that stage. And then once you create the path, you literally drag and drop it onto the page, and now they've got a path. They can update the fields from there, they can click links from there, they can change stages from there, and it even works on mobile. It's just really easy. Paths are great for one record. I'm looking at this opportunity. Let me go through the stages. Well, there's something called Kanban. If you go to any list view, pick a list view, any list view, you can view it as a table, or you can change the setting and view it as a Kanban. And what it does is it turns it into this table. And you can take this table and drag and drop move records from one stage to another. So think of path as that way of moving a single record through a process. Think of Kanban as a way of keeping your pipeline updated when you have multiple records that you're shuffling through a process. So think about this for tasks, for projects, for orders. Really easy way. You don't have to click into each of these records and update them. You can just drag and drop them. It's great. This one I can't really demo to you. I'm just going to explain it to you. All of you have up to 100 licenses of a feature called Einstein Activity Capture, Auto Activity Capture. So you should just know you can drag and drop, customize the Google or Outlook sidebar to make it just like a lightning page. You can add stuff, remove stuff, component visibility on stuff. This is great. This is how you're supposed to log emails. But you don't have to log emails manually. You can have Einstein automatically do it. It looks at who's on the email, who's on the invite, and automatically syncs it to Salesforce. So you turn this feature on, and then you have you essentially assign permissions to which users can use it, and then those users can connect their Gmail or their Outlook to Salesforce, and that's it. It starts syncing behind the scenes and their emails work. This is something you should all look into, but you get up to 100 of these licenses included, and you never have to log an email again. And here's a cool thing about it. Let's say you have a lead that you've been talking to for 6 months, and then you create them in Salesforce. Salesforce will automatically append that 6 months of email history to their record. So even though they didn't exist in your CRM yet, it's been holding onto these emails, and then it'll put them in your CRM once the record's created. That's different. Traditionally, if you want to log an email, you got to log it against a record that exists. And then once the record exists, it doesn't go back and log emails manually. You have to do that manually. So with auto activity capture, you don't lose historical emails, and you don't have to do it manually anymore. It's great. And hey, dashboards, this is my last one. Dashboards are powerful. They're great. You should all use them. But tons of people are intimidated by them. There's no shame in that. People should know how to build their own reports and dashboards. That's kind of the point. But if you don't know how to and you don't have any, install the dashboard pack. Here's some links to some templates that'll get you going. There's like 20 or 30 dashboards here, whether it's on lead management or sales history or clean your room, which is basically people not updating records when they should be updating records. These dashboards are pretty generic, but you can install them and get a really good starting point without having to do anything. And then you can tweak them to fit your business, your use case, your needs. So I think this is just really nice. You can install them and save yourself a ton of time. Did I make it? Ooh, I think I made it. Okay, so hey, if any of these were interesting to you, I put links on how you can learn more about them here, so you can see how to do these things and follow up with these things. If you want to play with a lot of these features, not configure them, but see, how to do the Navbar, see a path already built, see components showing up and not showing up. I have a demo environment that I've created for all of you. It's called Everybody's Demo Org. So you can go to salesforce.com/EDO, sign up, log in, have fun, and just see these things in practice. If you need help with stuff, there's no shame in it. This partner, Wiser Spread, offers you all 2 hours of free consulting just for saying Iman sent me. So you can reach out to them and say, Iman sent me. You'll have 2 hours of free consulting. There's no expectation that you have to pay them for anything. But if a project comes out of it and you need some more help, they can be someone that you work with, and it's win-win for everybody. All right, so I'm going to stop. I told you I was going to go fast. I'm going to take a deep breath and see if there are any questions. Before I take questions, though, I just want to let you all know we have a new community group in the success community, in our community for our customers, called Iman's Webinars. So you can find it yourself, or you can click that link. But if you want to send us a question or keep tabs on what we're doing and new comments and new webinars we have coming out, go to that group, join it, and you can stay up to speed on whatever it is. We're doing all things Iman's Webinars. All right, I'm going to stop. Crystal.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah, we got questions. That was fast.
I know.
No, it was good. It was great.
I should limit it to 7. I don't know. All right, go ahead.
No, all good stuff. Okay, Bill's asking, how do I remove a customization tab on my Navbar?
Oh, okay. So I just built this tab here, and maybe I don't want it anymore. Over here, you got the little pencil, and you can just remove the ones, or you can rename them. Rename. Okay. So you could do that one at a time if you wanted to, or you go into the pencil and you just click reset, and whatever you did goes away. And it goes back to the way it was. So the little pencil on the side.
Nice. All right. Bindle's asking, does the custom navigation, is it saved for a user so it would show up if a user logs in from another device, like a desktop or their mobile device?
So yes, it's per user. Yes, it's safe for the user if they log in from another device. Mobile is receiving an update in the next month or two where it'll replicate in mobile. For now, it won't replicate in mobile. It's not there yet. For the time being, if you want your stuff to show up in mobile, you can favorite it. So if I favorite this page or favorite that record or favorite this list and that page and that dashboard will show up in my list of favorites. But in a few months, the Navbar should mirror mobile. Yeah.
Okay, great. Chris had a question about the kind of the parent list and the child records.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's asking if we had a parent account above the listed account rectangle, like what he kind of showed in your slides where you kind of had it broken out with rectangles, could they show the associated contacts from the account level?
So I'm on a contact record. Let's just try to see. I think I understand, but maybe I'm missing something. So I'm on the account record, and here I've got a list, and I'm going to say go to the parent account of this contact, go to this contact's account, and then get the list of contacts. So contacts. I've got a lot of stuff here. Contacts. Oops. Let's see. So you just have to make sure whatever list you're going to show is on the page layout of the parent records. Here we go. So here are my list of contacts on the account. So I think that's what you're asking.
So he's asking like the grandfather would be, say, the parent account, and the father
from the contact account, then from the account to the parent account. Okay, so no, not yes and no. Yes, you can do that. No, you can't do that this way. So this is one level up, one level. It doesn't go from here to another one, to another one, to another one. It doesn't do that. It's just one. However, there's a couple options. One, Could you just put a field on the contact called grandparent account and fill that out automatically? I bet you could. And then could you just use that relationship? Yes, you could. So that's one way. The other one would be you can always use a flow. So flows require a little bit more time and learning, and they can be more complicated, but they're still point and click. And your flow could look at the contact that's on, find the parent account, find the grandparent account, find the great grandparent account, pull whatever you want, and then display it here. It wouldn't be a list view in the same way, but that would also work. If this is something you do all the time and it's really important, I would probably just think about having one more field called grandparent account and have that populated, and then you could use that relationship. Because if you notice, if I go to my page layout here, it really is looking at all the lookup fields on the contact record. It doesn't just have to go to the account. It could go to my manager that I report to. It could go to any other lookup fields that you have. So school, mentor, whatever, you can do that too.
All right, great. Okay, Megan is asking about dashboards. Can two users have different palettes for shared dashboards, or is that set by whoever creates or owns the dashboard?
So it's set at the dashboard level. Whoever can edit the dashboard has the permissions to go into edit, go in this little gear, and then pick the palette here. And when they pick the palette, everyone that looks at this dashboard will see that color palette. Doesn't matter that I created it or you created it, it just matters who's allowed to pick the palette. It's just like saying, hey, if someone went in there and got rid of that component, would it show up for other people? No, it wouldn't, because they got rid of it. So you're basically just configuring the dashboard, and whenever anyone looks at it, that's how it's going to look. If it's really an issue, they can clone the dashboard and have their own blue one, and you can have your own red one, but nope, it's per dashboard.
Okay, I got a little more clarification from the question just previous from Chris. He's
Okay.
asking, so if you're on the parent, if you're on the parent account, not the contact, but you're on the parent account, can the parent account show all contacts that are associated with the child accounts?
No, this does not go down. So this, okay, so I'm on a grandparent account. Comcast owns NBC. And when I'm on the Comcast record, I want to see all the NBC contacts, something like that. So when I get that related list single, when I get this related list single, so this only goes up. It does not go down in relationships. So I could go from here to parent account, but I can't go from parent account to child account. Again, if you wanted to do that, a flow would do that. You could do that with a flow for sure. But a little harder, a little bit more effort, but you totally could do it. You could have a flow that says, go get all the contacts from all the child records and put them here. But I don't know how important that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rashan is asking more about dashboards. How can I have different dashboard palettes, so not the theme, but a palette, for individual dashboard components on one dashboard?
So when you look into a particular component, that component really only has a light or a dark option. So you pick a palette for the whole dashboard. So I'm going to make my whole dashboard watermelon. Why not? It's watermelon, okay? Here's my watermelon one. But for this one, maybe it makes more sense to be dark. So once this loads here, you can make this one a dark component. So you can make them light or dark, but it's still the same color theme. It doesn't change the theme there. It's a little weird. This change color. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, it's supposed to be watermelon. Oh, there are certain things you can do in Salesforce where you say, regardless of what you're doing, pick this color for this value. So in these cases, these colors are all dynamically assigned. In this case, in Salesforce, we've said qualification stage is always light blue, discovery is always darker blue. So this doesn't care about your theme or palette, it overrides it. But for each individual component, you can pick light or dark. You can't pick different colors.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, Megan is asking, so on her nav bar, it does not have the pencil icon and it has a question mark instead. and it says, ask your admin to update this app to Lightning so you can personalize it. Is this because they're still transitioning from Classic?
Yes, probably. So here's the way this works. When you go into setup, you have apps, okay? And you go into your apps, app manager. And these are your apps. Now, essentially an app is just a collection of tabs. That's all it is. It's what tabs show up when I'm in the sales app, what tabs show up when I'm in the service app. So there are, you can show the same apps and the same tabs from classic apps if you like. But they don't get all the same permissions and capabilities as Lightning apps. So if you still have a classic app, recreate it as a Lightning app, and then it'll show up. But let's say you take a Lightning app and you edit it. Each app itself has the option for having its own themes and colors, or allowing people to create their own tabs or not, and personalize their own nav items or not. So disable or enable. So if you don't have those perms, it's because you took an app from Classic and just showed it in Lightning. Instead, create a new app, pick the same tabs that you wanted, that you would want to show up, hit save, and now you've got a Lightning version.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this one's from Brian. Is there a way to create a custom calendar and share it with other users?
Not yet, no. This is a per user thing. So each user would need to go in and create their own calendar. There's really nothing I've seen here that lets you do that. If you want more advanced calendaring, there's an app on the App Exchange called Calendar Anything. It's not free, but it's basically a Google Maps to Salesforce and Google Calendar to Salesforce integration, where you can create as many calendars you want, Gantt charts, month view, all these things, and those you can share with whoever, embed wherever. That's a more robust version. This is a per user thing.
Okay, great. Allison's asking, regarding the path, is there a way to make validation rules look better that we don't know about? So she's thinking of taking some of her validation rules off her opportunity page because the validation error messages are kind of hard for her users. They're kind of alarming to some of the users.
Can you ask it again? I'm missing the spirit of the question.
Yeah,
Something
so
about validation rule errors, but what are we trying to do?
Is there a way to make them look better or more intuitive?
Well, when you create a validation rule, so what's a validation rule? So there are required fields, and that just means the data has to be in there. It doesn't accept blank values. A validation rule only lets you put in certain values, or will only let certain people update values, or it has rules around when fields need to be updated and what's appropriate and not appropriate. When you create a validation rule, you can set the error message. That error message can be at the field level. So if I have a validation rule that says the dollar amount must be, greater than 0, no negative dollar amounts, you could put the validation error up at top, but if it has to do with the specific dollar amount field, you might as well put the error message right by the field. In my mind, if people are confused by it, it's because your messages aren't very helpful and you're putting it at the global level when you might want to put it at the field level. So I would revise your validation rule messages. The other thing you can think about is just other visual indicators in general, right? So does it really need to be a validation rule, or could I have a visual indicator or one of those components show up or not show up when data is missing or out of whack? It wouldn't block the update from happening like a validation rule would, but it would be a visual way of helping people understand what's going on. Short answer, no, there's really nothing with path that's going to make it better or easier necessarily, except, chances are if they're in the discovery phase, these are the fields that they're probably updating. You should probably put those fields right here. So if there is an error, they're easier to find. I would probably work on the wording of your validation rule. Okay. Yeah.
Carol's asking, do the Einstein email tracking, does it show up in activity reports?
Yes and no. No, it doesn't. Einstein does not create so these, what are these? These are tasks and event records in Salesforce. And so when I manually log an email, or when I manually create a voicemail, or when I log a task, these are task records and event records. That's not what happens with the activity capture feature. Activity capture doesn't just keep creating tasks, doesn't do that. Instead, when this activity feed is rendered in your screen, it shows you tasks and events, and it goes to some other table where these Einstein things are, and it pulls them in here, and so it looks like they're all there for you, but it looks like they're all there. They're not really all tasks and events. So if you were to go to a dashboard, or if you were to go to a report and try to run a report or a dashboard on all the tasks, you'd be missing the emails from activity capture. So there are two features around it. Let me see if this is in here. So I'll log into the demo environment that I have. I'll show you this. So there's two ways around it. One is with the activity capture feature are fields that you're automatically given. So you're given new fields are created for you around activities. Let me see if I've got them here for you. Let me go to my accounts. Here we go. So Einstein will create these fields, for example, called last activity date, last 30 days number of activities. There's a bunch of these little fields that get created. You can put them on list views, you can see them on the record, you can report on these. These actually are fields in Salesforce that get updated, and they do get updated based on auto activity and manual updates. So you kind of get a mashup of the metrics most people are looking for. That's one. The other one is you will really get a analytics dashboard. So Salesforce has regular reports and dashboards, and then we have analytics, and you will get an analytics dashboard. I don't believe I have it right here, but you'll get a more advanced dashboard that does do a mashup of regular tasks and events and the Einstein stuff. So yes, you can report on it. Yes, you can get the insights you want. No, they won't show up in reports and dashboards, but you do get these Einstein fields on your accounts, contacts, leads. So these do show up, and that might be what you're looking for anyway. So complicated answer.
All right. With the Einstein activity capture, do you have to have the Outlook integration first?
I haven't tried doing it. I want to say no, but I'm not sure. I haven't tried ever setting it up for a user that doesn't have the Outlook integration. I don't think they're dependent on one another, but I can't be certain. I just haven't done that before. Usually, you want to give people access to Salesforce data in their email anyways, right? If I'm looking at your Crystal's email, I want to see her account, her contact, the other activities we've had. We're gonna be able to update her phone number without having to go into Salesforce. So the sidebar does a lot of good things for you independently of manually logging emails. Good question. I just don't know. I haven't done it. I'm 80% confident that you can have it work without the sidebar because I don't believe they're necessarily related. I could be missing something though.
All right.
Try it out.
Circling back to Allison's question, she was asking about making the validation rules look better. So she says with regard to path, so she says the validation rule errors are all showing up all together at the top of the page instead of on the field. She says the path seems to kind of override this. So she was wondering if you had any thoughts of how to.
I don't have any more detailed insight for you there. I'm sorry.
Okay.
How validation rules are impacted by paths, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry. If you're getting a ton of validation rules though, popping up all at once, it makes me feel like how you're having people enter data is probably too manual. So for example, and I'm not trying to pivot here, but if there are 7, 3, 5 validation rules happening and that's common, then that's telling me your users aren't naturally entering in the right data or reasonable data or correct data. So I would really think about, if they go into an opportunity and they've got 6 different things they need to do, rather than make them just update these fields or go down here and update these fields, really start looking into actions and having the actions do it for you. This might just be a cleaner way to do it. When I'm updating next steps, I use this one. When I'm entering in my competitive info, I use the competitive info button. I would start looking at actions that might give you cleaner, better data and just less validation rules in general. But how does the path impact validation rules? I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. This one's from David. Is it possible to add multiple shipping addresses to an account?
So, sure. Yes and no. So let's go to an account. Yes and no. So I go to the account. I go to my, let me go to my demo environment. I go to my demo environment. I go to an account. Let's edit the account. If I go to this account, I can add a new field. And so all of them already have shipping and billing, okay? But notice there's no like address field, right? So you can add a field and just call it, you know, shipping number 2. And it's just a big text block. Or you can add, you know, shipping city number 2, and then create another field for shipping state number 2. And you could do that, but there is no add another address field in the way that the addresses are combined fields you see today. So you could just be creating more custom fields, but you don't get that nice. So what happens with an account is we really do have separate fields for billing address. When you look at a billing record, it really is a street, city, zip, country, state, all rolled into one for you. This capability is not something you can just generate more and more of. But that being said, you can create this other shipping number 2 field. You can put that on the account page and people can use that. And there's other ways. If you could have between 1 and 15, 1 and 30, then I wouldn't recommend fields, because you're going to have a lot of bad data. You can always end up having, let me see if I added one here. Here, shipping number 2, right? So shipping number 2, 1 Market Street, San Francisco, CA, right? So you can do something like that. That's pretty easy. But it doesn't work the same way our other address fields do, right? These address fields can get created for you by Google Maps. You can have a map link real easily. You can do a lot of this other stuff, but it requires more effort. So short answer, make fields. If you could have between 1 and 50 addresses, well, then you might want to think about having related records. Like, you know, you have related contacts. You don't have a field for every contact. You create a new contact record. So each order might have its own shipping address. Each invoice might have its own address. So I would think about where does that address get used and decide if that field on the account makes the most sense or not. That's like an architectural question for you. But you could create more fields this way.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. This one's from Bill. How can I be on an account and see all attachments for all the contacts for that account?
I don't think there's a great answer that doesn't involve custom code. In Service Cloud, if you were to have a case, we've recently done something where all the attachments from all the emails roll up to this one files widget for you. But on the account, it doesn't do that. On the account, if you go to Tom's record, actually, does it do that? I don't think it does. I don't think it rolls up all the files to the account. I just don't believe it does. I could be wrong. I haven't tried it lately. Let's try it. Let me just try it real fast. I think the answer is it doesn't do it, unfortunately, but I'm going to try this with you real quick. And we'll see. All right, so here I've got a file on Tom. I'm just going to add a file to Tom's record. And I'm just going to upload a file, and I'm going to upload my yellow indicator, because who cares? There's my file on Tom's record. I don't believe it'll show up at the account now. Let's see. No. So unless you do some customization or find an app on the App Exchange, I don't believe it'll do that by default. If you want to do the customization, it's doable. It's just I don't know how much effort that's worth for you. Yep.
Okay. The customizations you've talked about today, are they available in Classic as well?
Pretty much nothing I haven't even thought about Classic. No, most of the stuff was pretty much Lightning. The navigation bar thing is Lightning. The component visibility is Light. Pretty much everything I've talked to you about is Lightning. Maybe those these formula field visual indicators, these visual indicators, let's see my leads. These, you can do these in Classic. Those will show up on a page like, you know, when you go to Javier's record, and Javier's record has this green, red indicator, or 5 stars, 3 stars, whatever, that'll show up in Classic. But like these components on the side, component visibility, Kanban, list views, tabs, pretty much everything else, no. At this point, I would not, if I were you, I would not try to make Classic better. I would focus on migrating to Lightning. And there are a lot of resources we have to help you do that. Most customers haven't migrated to Lightning because they simply just haven't taken the time to think about it, or they kind of kick the can down the road, or they don't see the value in Lightning. Few people, there are people that legitimately need this one feature that just doesn't exist yet. And for a lot of those, there are workarounds, or there are solutions that could work in Lightning. And if anything, there's so many other enhancements in Lightning, I would hate to see you miss out on all the benefits over like that one feature. So if possible, my recommendation is don't invest more in Classic. Invest that time on trying to move to Lightning. And if you still don't think you can, come to one of our office hours, go to the Lightning community groups. I even did a Lightning webinar earlier in the month, but I would rather see you focus on that, where you just get way more benefits in Lightning, if that's something you can do.
All right. Talaya is asking, can you create a custom convert lead action? She says, we have fields required prior to converting.
No, not without, yes and no. Not without custom code. The convert, so what are we talking about here? So when you go to a lead and you convert the lead, this little thing here, this requires you to decide, am I creating a new account, or am I going to map this lead to an existing account? Am I creating a new contact or mapping it to an existing contact? So this functionality does not just exist as an action. If anything, you might want to create validation rules that block a conversion from happening, or an Apex trigger that blocks it from happening, or you can have a page layout that doesn't even have the convert button on it until it's ready. Those are probably the easier paths. If you wanted a custom convert action, it is doable, but you're looking at code. And the reason why is there's some advanced logic, like, do we create a new one or not? What type of new one? What fields go where? That you can't just easily do with a standard point and click action. So is it doable? Yeah. Is it doable without a lot of effort? No, not really. So my recommendation would be to control how people convert a lead, so that when they're ready, when it's appropriate, then is the only time they're allowed to do it. That's probably your path of least resistance.
All right. And Carmen is asking, with visual indicators, could these be used in email signatures, like a company logo or a link to a company website?
I have not tried embedding visual indicators in an email before. Let me try right now. So from my lead record, what do we call it? Do you remember what we called it? Do we call it doing it live? Of course. Let's try doing it live. I don't know. Let's send it to myself. I don't know. I've never tried this. Oh, okay. And we're sending it to Kelly. Okay, there we go. Hit send. I don't know. I'm going to pause my screen here. I'm going to check my personal email. Sorry, I've got internal email, so I'm not going to really share this part with everyone. Let me get my email to show up here. While I'm waiting for the email, Crystal, any other questions?
Yeah, we got one here from William. So for example, attaching a contract on an account, he's saying, if I attach a file on the account object in the new file section, how do I set permissions on the file uploaded? Can I upload directly to a library? How does that work?
Files are controlled by who has access to the record. If you can see the account, you can see the record, the files related to the record. So it's controlled by the parent of the file.
All right.
Okay, and you know what? With 1 minute left, I've got to go. I've got to be respectful of the time here. Look, thank you all for coming. I appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this webinar, every Tuesday, every Thursday, I do something. On Thursday, we got office hours, so come ask me questions there, or go join us on the chatter group in the community. And on Tuesday, I'm going to do a validation rule deep dive, and I will probably be ready for that path question by Tuesday. So look, thank you all for coming. I hope this was a good use of your time. I know I went really fast, but if you could just fill out a survey and let me know that you appreciate the session or not, or what we could have done differently, or if it was helpful for you, I would appreciate it. So thank you all for coming, and have a great day. And I'll check. I haven't got that email yet, but when I get the email, I'll check it. And Crystal, maybe we can see who that person was, and we can mention them in the community when I find out if the image came through to my email or not. Thank you all for coming. Have a great day, everybody.